So at first it was giving me some notice that Facebook wasn't connected, but now it is. So sharing on all platforms and making sure that everything's copacetic before I even get started with this. So we are just about 5 minutes before our regular program for Sundays with Oloye Karade and his message that he's going to be sharing with us this evening. It's very, 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 very insightful and excited program that'll be coming today. But before we get into that, I just wanted to go over a few things that Sacred Waters Healing Temple will be offering. Is I, Ifa Kolade Umilade Fatosin of Sacred Waters Healing Temple. I am the founder and the custodian of Sacred Waters Healing Temple. And I just want to properly introduce myself and as well as my intention and the services that I will provide. Now, as you see on the screen here, Sacred Waters Healing Temple exists as a space that is offering a bundle of different things from different outlets, different programs, different events, music, and group study collection, community studying. And so, of that, I have the main channels you can find us on, which is YouTube, daily, and programs on Sunday. You got Facebook where you can find me, where I'm sharing different insights, different posts, different different events. And Instagram also is available there too. If you're on Instagram, you can find us there. You can find also my WhatsApp if you're interested in learning more in a collective space. Here, this link right here, you can contact me directly. Let me know what it is that you're looking for. This is our YouTube. This is the introduction. This is where we have tons and tons of videos right now, about over almost 200 videos that we've posted. We're talking about the Odus, talking about Tawede, talking about the books that Baba Karade has. He has over 10 different books. Also, I myself will be revising and republishing books as well. So I have books coming out. Then also, you can find us on Spotify, where I pretty much take anything that you hear on Facebook, anything you hear on YouTube, and I have it there for you to enjoy listening to while you're on your way to work, on the train, on the bus, on the trolley, on your way to work in between the day. You can find us there. And then also, I have Wife of a Rumila training coming up. So if you're a woman and you are looking for community, for sisterhood, and what does it take to be in a PTB? You ever wondered about that? You ever wanted to be interested in that? I am going to be speaking and teaching about that. So if you're interested, you can find the link here to join. We'll be talking about the misconceptions about a PTB and the societal things that I want to demystify. So I go deep dive into all of that and womanhood and all. And then we'll have music. So if you're interested in hearing music, Spotify, Apple is available, all of the resources there. And then I am also offering a Yoruba language class for $8 a month. We also have the Facebook group for Sacred Waters Healing Temple, another WhatsApp group for those interested in learning more about wealth and investing from a spiritual perspective. WhatsApp group is available for that. And then we're always here for those willing to contribute or offer any donation to help the organization grow. Then we have the Olodu Ifa Isheshe grounded training for those interested in learning the Odu. So you can find that there. And if you want to schedule with me for Ifa Isheshe Dafa, I am available. Here's the link for that. If you would like more, I welcome you to find the links and go from there. And last but not least, we do have the Ifa Isheshe 4-part introductory. This is a introductory lecture series, pre-initiation, that we are offering. It's a 4-part series, about 45 minutes, 90 minutes, just depending on where things go. But if you're non-initiative seeker looking to know what that entails, this is for you. You can find this link here on Beacons on our website, and you're more than welcome to join um, and be a part of that as well. That's what I have for you. So let's get started now with our program. And I'm going to bring Oloye in for that. All right. Aboye, Aboshishe, and I am like probably just a few seconds in, just a few seconds in on the introduction of today's course. But I welcome you, and let's get started. How you doing? How you doing this weekend?
I'm fine. I'm fine. Wa da da. I am doing well. And
Ashe, Ashe.
seemingly getting stronger, as the days go by.
Mm-hmm.
And being a part of this program has so much to do with it. The Sunday services, okay, uh, bring life, bring purpose. And it's just wonderful to share the insights, brought about by age and experience and study.
Yes.
So I'm well, and I want to extend that wellness to all of our listeners, you know, and and to the present, the past, and the future
Mm.
of we not only involved in Ifani Sheshe, but we as a people. So I want to extend that blessing. That's how well I'm doing.
Ashe. Awesome. Amazing. Well, I'm glad to see you.
Mhm.
Glad to share this day, this program with you.
Yes.
And I'm also appreciative to all the listeners that have been a part of this journey with us thus far. And welcome you all to today's program. Today we're going to be talking about Ijale.
Ijala. Hmm.
Ijala, okay,
Yes,
from
yes,
the book Ogbon Inu.
yes, yes. Well, Ijala is a form of poetry, spoken word, if you will. I would go so far to even say old school rap, you know,
Mm,
and also to include not just speakers who are eloquent, but speakers who express themselves in a very rhythmic and figurative manner. Uh, Take, for example, a Muhammad Ali. Okay, Muhammad Ali would fall into the Ijala chanters, Oni Ijala, those who own Ijala, because it is a form and fashion of speaking and coming across. I would even include someone like a representative, Jasmine Crockett. The way she comes through and it's just flawless. It's like listening to all of nature just coming through. No hesitation, point blank, but deeply, deeply moving because of how she paints the picture with her words. There's a force of nature, you know, behind her. And I would even take, just to kind of put a little backdrop to this, somebody like Mike Tyson, Iron Mike, okay, who after really going through it in life and then becoming, the man that he is, the champion that he is, and to now, you know, having reached ages and stages, of his being, okay, he becomes eloquent, but in a deep Ogun-like sense, you know, and there's no way that his Ogun is not ever present. He's a priest of Ogun, you know, initiated by the trials, initiated by the battles, but also initiated by the growth. Okay, so when we speak of Ijala, we could even speak of somebody like Tupac. Okay, who just comes across and he's coming across with a purpose, and that purpose is the upliftment and elevation of we as a people. That makes him a hunter that goes out, risks life, gives life to nourish the people, those who may not be perishing for lack of food and water, but perishing from lack of knowledge and wisdom. These are the Oguns in our lifetime, and their chant to express the nature of our existence based on the nature that's around us is at the core of Ijala. Now, for example, we see this picture here. You know, this is the general image that we have of Ogun. And there is that side. That side has to be there because you understand the hunter is also hunted. The hunter is also set to live or die, to live and die for the benefit of the people. There's all kinds of poisons and venomous creatures out there in the forest. There's ways to get lost and not find your way back. You know, there's ways to be attacked by other tribal nations. There's all these pearls, you know, but yet the Ogun force dares, dares to challenge those destructive forces for the upliftment and benefit of the people. So you see here, this picture is like so on point because he's cutting through the madness. He's cutting through the dangers. He's cutting through with machete in hand. Why? Because he has to protect the people. He has to bring forth food for the people. He's a hunter. He's a warrior. And Ogun over time becomes the epitome of hunters. There were hunters thousands of years before this Ogun principle, but those thousands of years built to the Ogun principle. In some lore, it is said that Ogun was the first son of Oduduwa. And as we know, Oduduwa came in to an Ile that was already constructed. Now, as the timeline has been shown, we're talking about perhaps 4,000 years ago, easily. Okay, 6,000 years ago, probably more so. But then there were people there before that, and they were hunters as well. They were warriors as well. So just like Jakuta preceded Shango, there were Oguns who were made legend and revered and then deified as symbols of worship. So coming in with Ijala, homage has to be given to the Ogun principle. And I'm going to take a moment and just uh, read the Ogun prayer as found in the handbook of Yoruba religious concepts, just to give homage to Ogun prior to speaking more so about Ijala. Ogun, Ogun, Ogun. Ogun Peleo, Baba Mi Peleo. Ogun, the powerful one, sufficiently great to stand before death. One who makes human beings prosperous. One who is not enriched by Ogun will find it difficult to get sacrificial kola nuts. Ogun, enrich me. Ogun, the powerful one, the strong one of the earth, the great one of the other world, the protector of those who are being injured. Ogun, support me. The Ogunde arere ire gbogbo lokuwa. Ogun wa nile oke wa lona. Ire gbogbo lokuwa ye. Ogun arrives. Ogun Day. Ogun arrives. Title holder of Ire, which was one of the cities that he founded. All of Ire proclaim, may you live forever in the world. Ogun, come to occupy my house. The mountain comes to meet the road. All of Ire proclaims, may you live forever in the world. Ashe. So here we have a whole nother insight to Ogun that does not reinforce this commonplace notion that Ogun is some wild beast like ravenous, you know, rapacious individual who is just hell on wheels, you know what I mean? Ever destructive, ever losing his temper, ever that's a whole nother interpretation, you know? And I would dare say blown out of proportion, or those who have the Ogun essence in them who have not yet learned how to channel it, if you will, contain it, direct it through the process that we know as Abba. So they just wilding out. Oh, I'm a goon, I'll do this, blah, 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 blah. No, you are out of control. That's who you are. Whatever name we're gonna put on it. But don't be, blaming it on the goon, blaming it on your incapacity, to channel this very, very potent and powerful individual, you know, the blacksmith, the hunter, okay, the mechanic, the bringer of civilizations, technology. This is the Ogun that we know. Enifa Nisheshe. Okay. Thank you, Ian. Let's. Would you like to have some comment on that? Anyone? Okay. All right.
I think it was well said. No comment. That's
Okay.
perfectly said. I do like that you did bring up the fact that Ogun is oftentimes perceived as like, hell on earth or something, just out here throwing things around, you know. But he is much more than that. And so I'm happy
Yeah.
that you shared that.
Yeah. Much more than that. Much more than that. And what we're continually uncovering, not discovering because it's already there, but we're uncovering, and it's not because it's buried so deeply outside of us, but because it's buried so deeply inside of us. That even when we see and hear something like what I'm presenting, and what we're sharing, you
Mm-hmm.
know, on our Sunday services, it's that y- you know we have to move into recognizing it, and accepting that this perspective is true. You know, this is not the over sensationalized, and the over, exaggerated, and the over, this, that, and another thing. It's like, no, calm down, you know, and
I,
and 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 see the beauty in it, you know, see the beauty in it. So again, here we have the Ogun principle. That's the nourisher, bringing food to the people, bringing food to the mind, and evolving civilization via technology. You know, so when Ijala comes into play, it is basically uh, like the same thing we might see in like Asian movies, where the best fighter, is also like a deep thinker. You understand what I'm saying? And can bring about, like profound poetry. You know? how they're seeing life and how they express it, after so many battles and so much bloodshed and so much time defending themselves,
Hmm.
and thereby gaining greater appreciations for life. At some point, it becomes not so much why I'm doing this, but what's happening to me as a result of doing this. And so now you have philosophers that are born out of being extreme warriors, you know, again, like a Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson, or Michelle Obama or Jasmine Crockett. They suffered to get to where
Hmm.
they've come to realize that I'm going to channel this suffering into the upliftment of my people.
Yeah.
That's the Ogun principle that we embrace pragmatically. Okay.
It's seeing ourselves and it's seeing the orishas within ourselves versus,
Yes.
like you said, fantasizing it as if it's some type of external element. No, it's literally ourselves.
Mhm.
And it also brings me to one of the most popular questions that people get. How do I know which orisha is on my head? How do I know which orisha is on my head? Well, have you sat with yourself? Have you done any introspective work? You could tell. You tell me which orisha is on your head. Where have you
Yeah.
come from? And it makes me think about that. I know a lot of people who embody all of what you just said about his characters, but they might say, "Oh, well, I'm a Oshun or I'm a Shango or this and that."
Mhm.
But I'm like, you probably might be all of them. You
Yeah.
have the energy, the elements of all of them.
Well, see, and I can relate to that because that's what I was told while in Nigeria.
Mm,
You know, that's what was shown to me. And in a case like that, then it is necessary to receive Obatala,
mm,
you know, because Obatala is, you know, the enlightenment of it all. Obatala symbolizes enlightenment. You know, not so much, oh, he's the father of the Orisha, and everybody. No, no. Obatala symbolizes enlightenment. Obatala. Okay. So here we have not only what's going on inside of us, because the Ogun element is correspondingly the heart chakra. Okay. And we can see that because heart, courage, heart, devotion. You understand? Heart. It means so much. And those of us who are uh, introspective, okay, you know, I would say, meditate on your heart chakra, if you will. This is the seat of Ogun. And then when you study yoga and Tai Chi and all these other systems, Hinduism and all that, they have the divinity seated within the individual. Pick up any book, okay? So why was I, in 1994, the only person who was bringing the Orisha inside of us? Okay, because for the most part, the people who are into the syncretisms, that's not their bag. That's not what they're into, and I'm not mad at them. Y'all do what y'all do, but that's not all there is. And as a matter of fact, you know, you got a thin slice over here. The majority of what we are now uncovering, you know, is based on the revelations and epiphanies that are coming from within. But that in itself is a struggle, is a battle. It's taken me 40 years, okay, of being in the ring. You know? And then there's my own demons that need to be moved to the side, wrestled with, pinned down. Okay. So I do understand that what I'm offering is somewhat difficult, you know, to perceive, because then perceiving is going to lead to conceiving, because now you're going to start thinking differently, thinking much differently than how all of this has been presented, and the patakis, and and the bembe's and all this kind of thing, and people getting mounted. Okay, that's fine. Trust me, I yeah, okay, but there's more to it than that. There's more to being a God child. You are Olusin. You are a devotee. Okay, you are Omo Ehen. You are a disciple of Ifani Sheshe, not a sidekick. All right. So this is what the Ogun principle brings about. And if Akole, as you so nicely pointed out, you know, inside of us, yes. Now let's add to that the information that we receive and the impact that that information has on the inside of us. Okay, because like I said, now we're conceiving not new ideas, but we're conceiving how we're going to express what we're learning. And we're learning it from an elder. I'm not the new kid on the block. Okay. And everything I got, I fought for, just like this Ogun right here. Okay. So, what I have to offer is encouragement, courage to step out of the bush, you know, cut your way through with that machete and bring back what's nourishing to yourself, your family, your community, your nation, okay, and all the tribes that comprise it. All right? Okay. I saw some names come up. Peace and blessings, all good people. All right? Peace and blessings. Aboato, Sister Robin. Okay. Aboato. All right. Hi, Rain. Okay. Okay, yeah, Nifa, let's move on. You see that Ogun start rising. You understand? It's like okay, you know, but I have to do it. I have to bring the nourishment. I have to hunt for what's going to sustain us and grow us, you know, and not just regurgitate the same old, oh, in the Pataki, Ogun did this, that. Ain't nobody got time for that, you know. Okay, you know. But if you do, you do. Let me breathe, because my machete is sharp. Okay, so I'm not trying to cut down anybody's whatever, but I do know that coming out into a more pragmatic approach to Ifani Sheshe, it's going to take some digging them feet in the ground, and getting that heart chakra going, and coming to understand that there's more to all of this than what's on TV, kind of thing. All right. Any closing statements, Ia, before we go to the next slide?
Hmm. No, I think you said it well.
Uh,
Hmm.
yeah.
We're going to
Everyone.
see
Hmm.
which slide are we.
Yeah. Let's deal with the one with him in the red.
The second one.
Yeah.
This one
Right.
was interesting to me because I didn't think it was Ogun.
Yeah.
When I seen it, I immediately thought of Shango, and I'm sure you know why. Is because
Hmm.
on an elementary level, everybody's like green Ogun, red Shango.
Blue emoji, yellow emoji. Okay.
Yellow.
All right, children. And now you put your crayons up.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Yeah, but we have to go through the stages, and people who are stuck where they are, you know, blessings, I ain't trying to drag anybody anywhere, but
No,
we're going to give you what you came to get. Yeah,
your milk
without
and cookies.
invitation. Huh?
Your milk and cookies.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're going to do it in a way that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
We're just not talking off the top and being, counters, Lukumi and Santeria, like, no, no. We going straight for the heart, you know? Now, uh, if Day and I had a brief conversation about colors and how colors differ, as I was sharing with her, from the old Ile Ife up until now in the quote unquote new world, via the Ma'afa or the transatlantic slave trade, you know, and along with that, the Orisha faith being um, changed because of adaptation, you know, and then how basically a movement of gentrification uh, became like really prevalent, and so you found a lot of people who may have had African and indigenous blood in them, but they were clearly seen as Spanish or Portuguese, just based on colorism, language, and access to certain privileges. Okay, we've seen it happen in many genres. Let's look at the blues and rock and roll. Let's look at jazz. By any other name, uh, you start to find less and less of us and more of them. And don't let me say capoeira. Uh, a straight Angolan martial art, but 9 out of 10 places you go, we are sorely underrepresented. I'm not saying we're not. I'm just saying that the whole gentrification process is something that I don't I don't I don't feel as though we need to close our eyes to and pretend that interpretations other than our ancestral have been so infused that it's difficult to recognize, and especially in its totality, right? So we don't have a basketball court anymore. Now we have a pickleball court. Okay, so when it comes down to the colors, all right, we see red. Okay, for Ogun uh, from ancient times, and why? Why red? Okay, well, back in those days, the Oguns were basically the blacksmiths. Okay, there was nothing green and black going on in you know in the forge. You know, it was mostly red. It was fire. And if you look at the Ogun depiction, okay, look at what's happening. This is what goes on. You know, when you're dealing with iron, okay, when you're forging iron, when you're heating that iron up, you see that fire behind him. That's not Shango fire. That's Ogun fire. That's heating up metals and pounding them out with hammer and anvil. This is why Ogun was red. Oh, it's not because he was, blood lusting crazy. No, it's because he was forging tools and implements for farmers and hunters and, you know, people who needed utensils. The Ogun essence was absolutely necessary. And not to mention the inventions that came out of the fire pits with the metal. And this is where the technology part comes in for Ogun. You see, all of this is missing in the syncretism. Everything is stuck on, the release of tensions. Okay. And I get it. You know what I mean? It's just like when people in church get the Holy Ghost and scream and shout and praise dance and all that kind of thing. I get it. That's a necessary part of human expression. Okay. So understanding that, yes, embracing that, yes, but also understanding and embracing that when less of that is necessary, either because of age, you know, or because of levels of study and uncovering, because of deepness of meditations, because of disappointments, you know, we start to shift in terms of the paradigm and look at things differently. Okay. Then we find that, oh, there's more to the Orisha than prayers and songs and dancing and who's your Orisha and all that. That there's more to them than that. I'm sharing it with you from the bottom of my heart. Okay, that there's more, and it's evident, right? So here we have Ogun with the fire, and working with the iron, smelting. Okay, this is an important element within the Ogun essence. Now I'm going to take it one more step because of all the brilliant people who are listening, who are watching, okay, who are feeling, what this old soul has to say. We look at the importance of iron in the human body. Okay? When it's there and it's there strong, oxygen is transported through the blood. When you lack iron, you become weak. No matter what your physicalness may appear. But if that iron is weak, you gonna be weak. Okay? Because oxygen is not being taken through every single part of your body. Iron is so very necessary, and yet most foods that we are consuming, that are advertised, that are mentally force fed to us, lead to iron deficiencies. I would like to propose, moving on from this Sunday service, February 8th, 2006, that we all take note of the importance of iron in our consumption. Okay? Take note of it. One of the reasons I'm feeling all Ogun like today, no, it's because I made sure that to like re up on my iron intake. Yellow dock, okay, is powerful. All kinds of lentils and foods like that. One day later on, we'll get into all of that. But you can do the research, and you can learn your body. You can judge how it feels when you add more of iron in your body. Okay, so this again is an Ogun principle. You know, men of iron, women of iron. These are all part of our ancientness. We understood this 6, 12, 15,000 years ago. We got to see past enslavement. All right. So this is the Ogun principle, and in closing, the Ogun principle also relates to the DNA structure, the chain of DNA, how it looks like DNA. You know, this whole iron thing, and as the Odui Fa share with us that it was Ogun who created the iron chain upon which the Orisha descended to the earth. You see, it gets just that deep. And to even have a notion that we weren't thinking this deeply, this pragmatically, not only yesterday, but going back again thousands of years, is a notion that is injected in us. It is the result of enslavement. It is the result of enslavers who are continually masquerading themselves, you know, as something other than, right? But we're not playing that. We're not playing that. Ifa Isheshe is a movement, y'all. It's a movement, right? All right, yeah, Ifa. Okay, now we're going to talk a little bit about Ijala, since I went through all of that, to give homage to Ogun. We can't talk about Ijala without giving homage to Ogun. And you don't have to be a priest or priestess of Ogun in order to do so. You can just be so moved. You can just be so inclined. You know. There was a time in closing now, and I know I'm kind of overlapping here, but when people came back from the hunt, men and women hunted. When people came back from war, you know, men and women went to war. They could not return to the society unless they went to the Ogun priest. Those traumatized by by bloodshed and war and even accidents of like weapons and car accidents and all that kind of thing, at any given point from then until now, it's imperative that the Ogun essence be rebalanced inside of their bodies, perhaps for the rest of their natural lives. But we had all of this. We had all of this until the invasions. Okay. I'm suggesting that we go pre-invasion and uncover, you know, the deepness of our people, and then apply it pragmatically to our lives now. Okay, like what I'm sharing with you. Check your iron for the next 16 days. Make that your, uh, being riding smooth with Tawede. So for the next 16 days, I'm gonna check my iron. For the next 16 days, I'm gonna weigh myself against the traumas that I've suffered, that I've had to bear, yet survive. And how can I apply the Ogun principle to help alleviate the pain, to help me continually get through without tearing everything and everybody apart in my wake? Because, see, hurt people, you know, hurt people. No, they don't. Hurt people who are unresolved hurt people. And why? Because they didn't go through the Ogun principle. Okay. Comments on that before we go back to the Ijala slide?
That was beautiful. I like that you said it. And something that came to mind as you were speaking was how not only do we not give ourselves enough time to heal, but even when we have, gifts, have talents, or even been given a message or, given orders, something of what we're supposed to do in this lifetime, we
Hmm.
don't do it. We just sit and hold on to it. We don't speak it. And how by denying ourselves of the mission that we came here to do, I think that some internally our body picks up a signal that says, "Oh, so you're not ready. You don't want to do it, or you're not really ready to fulfill this part. This part. You need time to sit down, and then that builds stress if we don't recognize the signals.
Yes,
How to
agreed.
and then that's then how do we regulate
Hmm.
comes a question. Or it could be that you become so stressed, or individual becomes so stressed that their body
Hmm.
deteriorates on them, and life
Yeah,
starts ticking away
yeah.
because we didn't.
Those are known as blockages, and we come across that a lot. When people start doing something like yoga and tai chi, and I don't want to hear from anybody out there that this is not like ancient Yoruba practice. You would think we were just sitting around, waiting for the next elbow, or running to the get a reading because we stubbed our toe. It's like, no, we have ways of life just like we have ways of life right now. you know, People were studying, people were meditating, people were living just like we're living now.
Mhm.
Different technology, but people have been people for quite some time, you know? So you're right on, with if we're not um, moving along with the flow of our destiny, you know, and we take so much into our body, but we're not fulfilling our destiny, it creates blockages. And when we start to loosen up, like through the practices, I know it for a fact. I went through it, you know. I know for a fact people whom I've mentored, in the quote unquote Eastern sciences. I know they go through it. I know it from studies. You start stretching certain muscles, and those muscles are holding on to blockages, and ain't no joke, you know. And this is why I feel as though sometimes people who are getting spiritually cleansed kind of lose it because all of that was blocked is now, you know, released. And if you don't have a proficient priest, priestess, elder, then you can be just as bad in the spiritual sense as you were without it. Because now all these unleashed blockages are starting to rule your life. And that's why you need Ogun. That's why you need Ogun.
That is real. That's true.
You know, you don't have to be a priest or priestess. You don't have to spend all your money. But you do have to at least sit with an elder. To help you to see
Mm-hmm.
that's not you. It's your pain.
Yeah. A
Right?
sage elder. Mhm.
Who?
A sage,
Elder?
or
Now I'm in my 20s. What you talking about?
you know what? I could also say even children can remind you of that
Oh yes,
wisdom.
yes,
Because I
definitely.
I can even count times as an individual, as a mom, my younger
Mhm.
years when my son was like 3 or 4 years old, and I'm by myself and might be having a moment.
It happens.
Might have having a moment, and he'd just be like, "Hey, mom,"
Right.
and, and I'm like, "Okay, yeah, that's right,
Yeah.
mom."
That could take, well, it's taking me on a whole nother, but definitely related
Mm-hmm.
conversation. I'm not going to get into it now, but I gotta say a little something. Then we're going to get right back to slide because I don't want to get into it. But when I hear sisters going off on the young brothers, when I hear them, and they don't seem to care where they are. We're in a diner, in a freaking restaurant, coming into school and
Mm-hmm.
and the kid looking there like I'm just a kid. You know what I mean? What it is, you know what I mean? And even if I was a teenager or a grown man,
Mm-hmm.
you coming off on me like that, you know? And then all that builds up, as you were saying, and now we have what some people would call a generational curse. Okay. So I love it when you said that when young seven came to you when those moments and he just like, you know, come on now, you know, and you were receptive. That says a lot about you. Says a lot about you. All right. So we have a Jala. So what is a Jala? Okay. Now that we're moving on. Okay. Ijala is a traditional Yoruba spoken art form, a specific branch of Ewi poetry, historically chanted by hunters known as Ode. And we see the term Ode when we give homage to Oshosi. Okay. So here we have a spoken art form that's over 6,000 years old. And for all of the bimbes and all of the initiations and even all of going Nigeria twice and never a peep about this. Somebody has to bring about a change. And let that somebody be me. Now I see Abarisha Adiola popped in because we were having these conversations. Hey, Adiola, Karade, all right. We were having this conversation, and it's like, Ifalana's here as well. Blessings, Ifalana. We're having these conversations, about how we're missing so much that we look at our ancestors and give lip service, but we're not seeing with the eyes of our ancestors, through the eyes of our ancestors. Okay. We're not speaking their words, their wisdom. Okay. The last thing I heard about somebody, uh, uh, they told me to put an apron for my grandmother on my shrine, and I'm like, well, that's nice. You can put the apron on you, but are you starting to see the world through her eyes? You know, the being of our people is not just on the shrine. That's a reminder. It's not a recognition per se. You understand? Like I said, you can see something, but that doesn't mean you recognize it. Okay? You can regurgitate something, but that doesn't mean you're speaking it from your heart, from your bones. Okay? So now we're starting to learn that we had poets. We don't seem to have any problem with that when it comes to the Greeks and the Romans, who were existing more barbarically at the time than even we of Western Africa, much less ancient Kemet. Okay, but because of what's projected, because of the gentrification, everybody's stuck on, yo, well, you see, it's a native thing, you know. It's a one step away from, savagery and no God and, non-Christian and this, that, and the other thing. And they didn't have anything. They were just running through the jungle and all that stupid stuff, man. Stupid, you know? And they keep force feeding it, like force feeding us the worst parts of animals, you know? Here, eat this. If not, you're gonna starve to death. Soulless food. And so we live in a soulless society, you know. So now we're learning that we do have lineages of poets and philosophers. And we don't have to embrace the Greeks and the Romans as the epitome of humankind and look at ourselves and not even see us. Maybe some traces here and there, but quickly gone over and even more quickly forgotten. Okay. So somebody got to do something about this. And in my lifetime, the spirit that moves me is saying, you've been fulfilled. You're going to you're going to do it. Just like you've been doing it, but you didn't really, you saw it and you kind of recognize it's like, yeah, I know you. I can't place your name, but yeah, weren't we kind of doing this on okay Tashe back in Ile Ife maybe 5,000 years ago or so? I mean, but who's counting? And it's ancestral spirit is like, yeah, in a minute you're going to realize that you are the one that you've been talking to back then. You are the one who's come to fulfill the emptiness, right? So we're going to snatch you away from everything, but you got to do the work, okay? So here we have, a form of oral poetry that praises Ogun. We just did that, okay? God of iron and war, nature, animals, and recounts hunting expeditions or I would say community property. Cultural context of Ijala is a vital oral tradition from Western Nigeria, often performed during ceremonies, festivals, and meetings of hunters. Characterized high-pitched melodic chant, often delivered with dramatic flair. If that doesn't sound like rap, or if that doesn't, sound like scatting, if that doesn't sound like us, then I don't know who it does sound like. All right? Content, and I really like this part. Ijala includes detailed descriptions of nature, philosophical reflections. Anybody got a highlighter? Philosophical reflections, pragmatic approach to Ifa Isheshe, pragmatism, and narratives of hunting experiences serving as both entertainment and oral history. Significance. While rooted in hunting, it is a respected art form that preserves Yoruba cultural heritage. I was just checking out a piece on YouTube, and they had a sister who attends the University of Nigeria, and well, she may have been graduated by now. The film was maybe 4 or 5 years, and this sister was throwing down, you know, and the elders around her, everybody they laid down and they were clapping their hands, and she was getting down so deep she was like for laying almost, but she was running down what her Ijala poetry. Sis was not playing. Okay, so here we go. And I know a lot of us think, oh, hunters, warriors, it's a man thing. Oh, are women allowed in it? It's a guild thing, And it's like, no, no, you know. That's just like saying there's only males who rap or who play jazz. women still, struggle. I get that, you know, but it's not closed, and it's opening even more, as time goes on. So this is what we're learning about being involved with Ifa Isheshe. That's not going to be taught anyplace else but here. Okay. And this is why, by the grace of our ancestors, okay, we are doing what we are set to do, what destiny is guiding us to do. So that said, I'm going to take a little peek at uh, Agbani New. Okay. All right, good people. All right. Everyone who has obtained this book, you know, uh, at least thus far, those who have gotten in touch with me, feel very good about it, you know, because it's not so much material, that is overwhelming, and it speaks to the people, right? It speaks to the people, just like I'm speaking to the people. Okay, and I'm inviting you to speak back. We have dialogue. Okay, this is what makes the community grow. We have Karade Nation on one side and Sacred Waters Healing Temple on the other. There's no losing here. There's a perfect balance. The yang and the yin, or the light and the dark, the up and the down, however you want to slice it in terms of duality. But I'm like the total is greater than the sum of its parts. You know. But let me get to one of the we one of the poems that kind of speak directly to the Ijala experience, and it's called "I'm Not Insane." I'm not the one that's insane. Mm-mm. It's my spirit. Yes, it's my spirit that's insane, and I really do try to quell its madness, but often to no avail. I mean, it has me seeing things and hearing voices and smelling incense and telling me that it's all what I've seen and that is all of what I've spoken since eons ago, and that I've been here before and after this present time. No, I'm not the one that's insane. It's my spirit. Sometimes I can't even sleep because it makes me write and think and write and see into the darkness of what's behind the fabric that blankets illusion. I try to quell my spirit, but often to no avail. It's insane. And it's driving me crazy. Got me believing that I have to go backwards to move forward, that I have to turn upside down to see things right side up, and that I have to reach inside in order to exist more fully outside. I'm losing my mind up in here. Echoes of ghosts dancing in the rain, drumming up a storm, walking counterclockwise. Really, the insanity of it all is leading me by the hand to distant lands, calling me by names I've never heard, and telling me that I'm the bloodline of warrior priests, of diviners who could summon the Orishas and curtail humanity's self destructive ways. It's all a bit much, yet here I am. But it's not me that's insane. Beyond sanity, it's my spirit. Okay. One more, and then I really I invite you to comment and you know be so. comfortable with the invitation. This was called Anointed. It's the last one I'm going to read, so please bear with me. Anointed. Anointed by droplets from leaves on high, I stand affirm, awakened, uplifted by bird songs prayerfully chirped, I take flight. Hearken, the night's rain cooled the heat of day and passions consuming. Transcend. I turned into the forest and I gazed into the openness. I am nature, ascend. Ashe. Just wanted to share that with everyone because see this is how I've embraced Ijala, you know, and coming to grips with the uncovering that this is what I've been doing for years, you know, because I used to be like the griot type, giving talks, telling stories about our people, standing in front of, you know, colleges and auditoriums and high schools and conferences and all. But going through all of that to finally recognize the ancestral me, you know, and at the beginning and end of each day, I want you to do the same. I mean, I really do. I really do. I want you to know that it's possible. I want you to know that you can love yourself enough to really, really be the blood and bone of you. Hmm. Ashe. Yeah. Hello, dear.
Very nicely said. We have a comment from Naisha. Thank you, Naisha, for visiting, for joining us today. Thank you all. Ashe and Nature speaks again. Well said and beautiful poetry. Iwi, rather.
Okay. All right, look at you. All right.
I
Coming up with the Yoruba terminology and everything. All right.
do what I can.
Yeah,
It's
me too. I'm still struggling word by word, know. But yes. What's your takeaway?
well, like you said, it's just doing the necessary work so that you bring about, you manifest what it is that you're learning. You're able to internalize it
Mhm.
in a way that it comes outwardly and then reflect it upon your life. That's really what I got from it the most. So,
Yeah. Yeah. When I was writing the piece, I'm not insane. It's my spirit. Stuff heavy. You know, I was,
when was that book published?
but Bonnie knew
Oh no, the
a
other one.
couple of
What
weeks
was,
ago.
no, the other one that you lifted up.
No, that was Bonnie knew.
Oh, I thought you held up Elder Reflections. Oh, it looked different. It looked like Elder Reflections,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
the newest of the collection.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
But yeah, and it's all echoes of the same voice, you know. But there's more to come, you know. A little shout out for the Awake with Ifa program, uh, uh, given um, the Ashe coming from you, to bring it into bearing. But these are topics that are going to be covered. Like once we finish, I'm going to do about 3 or 4 daily, you know, programs, and it's going to be feedback, from this. Matter of fact, I think I already did that with I'm not insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
because I
did.
know I have like probably 4 or 5 videos to get to the people. You hear that, guys?
So we're doing the work over here, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and we're just not, uh, this is our ritual,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Because when you look at what is ritual, what does ritual mean, and why is the word ritual in the word spiritual? You know, because what you do on a consistent basis that evolves, enlightens,
Mm-hmm.
brings your spirit to fullness. That's your ritual.
Mm-hmm.
And different people have had different rituals since the beginning of time. So when you, as I called it the other day, praise right,
Mm-hmm.
that's praise right like writing. You're praise writing like people praise dancing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
People praise elbowing, or people, praise singing, or you can praise right. You can praise writing.
Mm-hmm.
Let the spirit move you. I'm sharing with you from the top to the bottom, okay, of
Mm-hmm.
my heart, that it is just as powerful an offering to the Orisha, to the ancestors, and to Ifa as anything else.
Shit.
Please don't let people get you all wrapped up in being wrapped up, you know?
Wonderfully. Yeah. That's very true.
Yeah. So we when we say we got the Holy Ghost up in here, we talking about the ghost of our ancestors. We talking about the ghost of our memories. We're talking about the spirit of the Orisha coming down and strengthening us so that we continue to speak the ancestral voice and to see through ancestral eyes.
Mm-hmm.
In Nuwako, we see eye to eye with our ancestors, and we try to look beyond the personalities, and the behaviors of those who have struggled and suffered so much, all of our people, and look into the blood and bone, and seek to purify ourselves, build that iron up. That will help. I help heal people from COVID by increasing their iron intake.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm speaking of from from fact.
Okay. Well,
Okay. In
I've
closing.
shared the comments. I've shared
Mhm.
all the comments that we have. We don't have any
Oh,
more.
all right. What do we
We are.
what's going on?
Oh no, I've shared it throughout the show.
Okay.
So. Mm-hmm. Well, I do thank you again. A wonderful message that you have, more than wonderful, message, and this will be available for those that missed it. They have so much more to look for what Ijala actually means. They have a lot to look forward to. Beautiful message, and so I hope that they find what it is that they are seeking while viewing this message. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you have poetry that kind of falls in line, because I gave examples, then submit them, either through Sacred Waters Healing Temple, or if you post something on Facebook, and I see it, I'll contact you and ask your permission to share it on either the daily dose, with Ifa, and or a Sunday service.
Yes, that's a good idea. That's a really good idea. Um,
Yeah,
my email is sacredwatershealingtemple@gmail.com. It will be included in the description of this video, so you'll definitely be able to find it. And like he said, he is on Facebook, so you can send it to Messenger through there. or on our page. Yeah. He has been reading other people's work, and we definitely see this how it's synonymous to Ifa, Sheshe, and the Orishas and all of their elements as well. And so, yeah, submit the poetry.
Now, who would have thought? You know what I mean? We're just uncovering. You know.
You're doing the work of the ancestors. That's all.
Yes.
And that's what we were just talking about. You have gifts, don't sit on them.
Ah,
Remove, as Ogbon would, what is necessary in your life so that you'll be able to access them and so that it'll be able to reflect upon your life, bless your life, and give you the ashe to move forward. It's just that simple. Some of us already have many people that I come across already have the gifts that they need. But once they get in contact with their orishas and they start understanding what they all it does is enhance what they already have.
and this leads us to classes. You know, and considering forming being a part of and elay that focuses more on this, you know, the pragmatic approach that this, you know, is the core of the teachings, you know, that we present. But then there are many expressions of it,
Hmm.
you know, and and, and it's all readily available. See,
Yeah. Yep. The links are there. The classes are there. When you're ready to receive it,
that's
you'll
right.
find it.
That's right. See,
Hmm.
all right.
Well, it's been a great program and a wonderful, wonderful Sunday. So, for all those who enjoyed the message, thank you so much. And we'll see you again next Sunday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until next time, Odabo.
Good job, bro.